Papua New Guinea launched its free education policy with great hope. The main goal was to make learning accessible to all children. This was a very important step for the nation's development. Leaders believed that by removing school fees, more young people would attend school. This would improve literacy rates across the country. It would also give more opportunities to children from poor families. The policy aimed to build a stronger future for PNG by investing in its youth. This dream was about creating a more educated and skilled population for generations to come, opening doors that had previously been closed to many. The promise of this policy was truly transformative for many communities. It signaled a commitment from the government to prioritize human capital. Many families who could not afford school fees saw this as a new beginning. They hoped their children would get the education needed to escape poverty. The policy was designed to increase enrollment numbers significantly. It was also meant to reduce the number of children dropping out of school early. The long-term vision was a nation where every child had the chance to learn and contribute to society. This vision ignited a sense of optimism for a brighter educational landscape in Papua New Guinea. However, the journey to realize this dream has faced many big challenges. The government of Papua New Guinea has been dealing with serious financial problems. These money troubles have made it very hard to support the free education policy properly. The country has had to rely more on loans to manage its finances. This has put a lot of pressure on the national budget. As a result, the funds needed for education have not always been available. This financial instability has become a major block to the policy's success, creating a gap between the initial aspirations and the current reality on the ground for many schools. The lack of consistent funding has crippled the policy's implementation. The government has often failed to send the promised money to schools. This has happened repeatedly across the entire country. Without these essential funds, schools cannot operate as they should. The policy, which looked so good on paper, started to become ineffective. The initial promise of better learning and more opportunities began to fade. This situation has led to what the World Bank calls a human capital crisis. This crisis means that the country is not developing its people's potential, which is a serious problem for future growth and stability. The government's financial difficulties have had a direct and damaging effect on the free education policy. Because the government is struggling with money, it cannot give schools the funds they need. This means that the core idea of free education is under threat. Schools are expected to operate without charging fees, but they are not receiving enough support from the government. This creates an impossible situation for many school administrators. They are caught between the policy's requirements and the lack of resources. This financial strain is not a small issue. It is a widespread problem affecting schools all over Papua New Guinea, undermining the very foundation of the education system. As a consequence, many schools across the nation are finding it very hard to keep their doors open. They struggle to pay for basic operational costs. Essential school supplies like chalk, paper, and cleaning materials are often missing. Some schools have been forced to get these vital supplies on credit. This means they are borrowing from local businesses, hoping to pay them back later. This practice, however, only makes their financial situation worse. It leads to growing debt for schools that are already underfunded. This cycle of debt and lack of resources makes it extremely difficult to provide a stable learning environment for the children. The lack of resources extends to very basic needs. Many schools do not have enough textbooks for all their students. Imagine a classroom where children have to share one book among many. Learning becomes very difficult in such conditions. Even more shocking is the state of sanitation. A very large number, around 72% of schools in PNG, do not have proper toilets or hand-washing facilities. This is a serious health risk for students and teachers. It also affects students' ability to attend school, especially for girls. These poor conditions show how deep the funding crisis in education has become. Furthermore, spending per student in Papua New Guinea has actually gone down. Over the last 10 years, even though more students are enrolled and more schools have been built, the amount of money spent on each student has fallen by 20%. This reduction in real terms means that the quality of education is likely suffering. Teachers are also affected. Absenteeism among poorly trained teachers is a big problem. This means that even when students are in school, they may not be getting the instruction they need. These factors combined create a challenging learning environment that fails to meet the students' needs. There is an urgent need for the government of Papua New Guinea to take strong action. The first step must be to ensure that promised funds are actually released to schools, and on time. This requires better financial management and a clear commitment to prioritizing education in the national budget. Without this basic step, the free education policy will continue to fail. The government needs to address the root causes of its financial difficulties to create a more stable funding environment for essential services like education. This intervention is critical to stop the ongoing damage to the school system and provide immediate relief. International support can also play a vital role. Organizations like the World Bank and UNICEF are already working in PNG. The World Bank has urged the government to invest more in education. This includes providing textbooks, building proper toilets, and developing structured lesson plans. UNICEF has been active in improving access to early childhood and primary education. They have helped 50,000 students attend primary school in 7 provinces. Their work also focuses on improving water, sanitation, and hygiene in schools. Continued and possibly increased international aid, well coordinated with government efforts, could make a significant difference. Recognizing the severe impact of malnutrition, the PNG government, with support from UNICEF, launched a school nutrition program in late 2024. This program aims to address widespread child malnutrition, childhood obesity, and anemia in schools. Health workers visit schools to educate teachers and students on healthy lifestyles. This initiative is a positive step, as fortified school meals can decrease anemia and increase school enrollment. Such programs, while addressing specific symptoms like hunger, highlight the interconnectedness of health and education and the need for comprehensive solutions to support children's learning and well-being. If the current issues are not resolved, the future of education in PNG looks very bleak. The country has a young and growing population. The number of 20 to 24-year-olds is projected to increase significantly by 2050. Without effective education and employment strategies, this demographic boom could become a major challenge. A generation of undereducated youth will struggle to find good jobs and contribute to the economy. This could lead to increased poverty and social instability. The potential human capital of PNG will remain untapped, hindering national development for decades to come. Investing in education now is not just a cost, it is an essential investment in PNG's future prosperity and security.